being told when you're 26 years old that you need to lose a tooth is not a fun conversation. So the other day I had this patient come in and, awesome girl. She had a toothache and some swelling on her face, and, in my gut, I just knew that this wasn't gonna go well for her. We did our thing. We, took all the, the history, and we found out that in fact she had an infection, and, she had antibiotics and all this stuff, and still like things weren't getting better. And so we took an x-ray, and we found that there was like a big infection in her jaw around this tooth that had a big cavity on it, and so forth, and the tooth ended up dying, which ended up causing this abscess and swelling. So unfortunately the tooth was so badly broken down that her literal only option was to take the tooth out. And so my heart went out to her, because like, this a young person that's losing teeth, it's not what you expect. When you're a kid, you don't ever expect that your body's going to start falling apart at some point, right? And so here she was in my chair, and we had to have this difficult discussion that unfortunately she was going to end up losing this tooth. For anyone out there that's kind of been in this, if you've had a toothache or like a swelling or like some pain in your mouth, you gotta wonder, like, what are your options, right? Because this poor girl, she came in, she had no idea what her options were, right? She thought she was gonna come and get a filling or something like that. But unfortunately, in situations like this, in her case, the tooth wasn't able to be repaired, so her only option was to take the tooth out. Now, it's not always like this. Sometimes, the damage is just bad enough where you may have the option to get a root canal. But in those cases too, it's super important to understand what the risks and the benefits are, so that you're fully informed of what a root canal is and what impact that can have on your life. Generally speaking, most people do have the option. They have the option to get a root canal if they're comfortable with that, or take their tooth out. Really, that's it. There's no great option here to fix a tooth that's kind of dying like that. So for this young girl, she has to get her tooth out, right? So, in situations like that, there's really only 4 things you can do, and really only 3 of them are like half decent options. So the first option is always like, you can pull a tooth and leave that space open, which has its own risks. Teeth start to move around when other teeth are missing, right? So that's not always the best option for people. Another option is to get a denture, which is like a false tooth you can clip in. Another option is to get a bridge, which kind of uses like the neighboring teeth around that hole as anchors to hold a false tooth in the middle. And then another option is an implant. Here we offer ceramic implants, which are non-metal. But yeah, an implant is kind of like a screw that goes into your gums, into your jaw, and you can once it's healed, you can kind of fasten a false tooth on top of it. So there are options. Thankfully, there are options if you come to this crossroad where unfortunately you have to get a tooth taken out. My heart goes out to anyone that finds himself in this situation. It's agonizing to watch, and it's having to lose a tooth is a big thing, right? So if you're in this situation where you're suspicious or you need a tooth taken out, I just want everyone to know that we've got some options. We've got some great options for you, and we're happy to discuss those options if it's something that you're interested in.